Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Wow, we made it through half of the program, and I'm hoping that each of you will enjoy the content that's been presented during this conference. I have. The next topic we're going to discuss is under the auspices of mobility and transportation. I know we talked a lot about infrastructure, but this project and this program really has an infrastructure component as well that I'll talk about. As Ken introduced me, I'm Darryl Spencer. I'm the Senior Assistant Vice President of DART, Dallas Area Rapid Transit. And I have a number of roles and responsibilities that accompanies my position. Not only am I responsible for the fleet engineering portion of the agency, I have responsibility for facilities and system engineering, which encompasses state of good repair, asset management, tunnels and bridges, infrastructure facilities, and the like. I have a third division that I'm responsible for, which is the standards, performance, and monitoring. Basically, that's a quality assurance group, and I do sleep. So I want to thank Ken and the organizers of this event for inviting me to share the program that we have. We're involved with right now. That program is the Automated Bus Consortium. The auspices of that is for this consortium to develop bus AV technology. I've been at the agency now for 28 years, and I must say, this is one of the most exciting futuristic projects that I've been involved in my career. So with that, technical difficulties. Can you advance it? Oh, you're getting sideways. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Any good stories while we're waiting?
There's stories while we're waiting, right? So there was an engineer. You know, I love the banter that was taking place earlier, talking about engineers. By degree, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I talked about the multitude of projects that I've been involved in, and I'll talk about some of those projects before leading into this topic. So some of the projects that I'm involved in right now is I'm talking to some of the other individuals about drone technology, drones and LiDAR. The drone technology, we have a federal grant for $175,000 to demonstrate that technology. And we're planning to use the drone technology to inspect our bridges and tunnels. We have over 100 bridges in our light rail transit system. We have a tunnel, and there's 2 portals to the tunnel. We feel that the drone technology will become commonplace because of technology in conducting those type of inspections. So I'm excited about that project. That is paired with the LiDAR technology. The LiDAR technology will be mounted on our light rail vehicle train. It's going to be used to conduct track inspections. We have 93 miles of track within our system, and as you know, there's degradation that takes place with track, and there's wear characteristics and profile characteristics. So that track conditions and the LiDAR technology will assist us in mapping out and collecting that data to determine the state of good repair over time. So let's see if this works for me. There we go. It was batteries. Back to this topic. So my presentation outline, what I'm going to cover is just a background about the consortium, the Automated Bus Consortium that DART's a member of. I'll also describe the technical approach, the pilot program that we've selected to deploy the automated buses along this route that we've chosen. The assessment criteria, how we're going to evaluate success, with the deployment of these vehicles. And then lastly, I'll close with a snapshot of our budget and schedule. Signal. Another 10 years. So there was an engineer and a plumber. Worked into a bar. That's right. But let me continue to walk through the presentation outline. The consortium was actually formed initially in 2018. We're back. All right, we're back. So the consortium was, we were approaching 2018 by a national consulting firm, AECOM. They're one of the national transportation consultants. And they approached us by identifying a vision. Said, how about if we consider accelerating the automated technology for transit buses or transit services? And we said, say what? How are you going to do that? So they walked us through the framework of the consortium, which consists of the technology assessment, feasibility, determine whether or not it's, number one, will it be feasible? Let's do an industry research and conduct some surveys in that area. The other element of the framework was going to include the deployment of the automated buses and formulating a program for that, identifying an RFP structure. The other element that was a selling point to us is that there was going to be a consortium of a number of different agencies, both in transportation and mass transit. And then lastly, is really looking at, are we too aggressive in coming up with some consortium to build and deliver and deploy an automated bus? What is that time frame? We're going to need time to develop that in a respectful way, in a phased approach. Next. Next. All right. We need those batteries. So under the program, we wanted to make sure that this program was developed to gain one experience, one extensive experience. And that extensive experience would have covered a variety of geographical conditions. As you can see in the left portion of the slide, it shows a bus in snow. Now the geographical conditions we're talking about would be followed with the membership of the makeup. The makeup would be consortium. We think that we have memberships from the northern region, the eastern region, the southern region, and then we also have membership from the western region as well. What's surprising is that, I have to say this, in Dallas, strangely, we seem to have been experiencing this Arctic blast far too frequently. And so the lines are blurred on which environment we're going to be operating our buses in. The variety of applications, I think was right thinking for the consortium to identify, let's acquire and jointly procure a number of buses and have them evenly split between a multitude of agencies within these different regions, right? And within these multitude of agencies, let them choose which route they would like to deploy the automated buses. We've made a choice with our route, and I'll talk about that soon. And then lastly, the variety of options for these vehicles. We narrowed it down into just two options. One, we wanted to be a new vehicle, not refurbished, not retrofitted. We wanted a new vehicle built by the manufacturer and the technology integrators. Secondly, we've decided to...
Do you need a video?
I'm sorry?
Do you want the video they were trying to play earlier?
The video is going to be shown at the end of the presentation. So thank you. So the
One of them's a new bus.
yeah, thank you. So one of them was a new bus, and then what the policy committee has decided on is the electric vehicle will be the platform of choice. No fuel cell, no diesel, no CNG, or anything else, because we want this automated bus to be ready, right? And we think that the electric vehicle platform and the propulsion system would serve for that readiness. It's already to accommodate that. And my clicker isn't working again. Next. So there's two phases to the program. Phase one is a feasibility phase, and this is smart. I mean, we wanted the consortium to really consider a phased approach. We didn't want to jump into building, designing, and deploying an automated bus without it being right thinking. because safety is first and foremost in this whole process. So that first phase was just to really evaluate the market. And we sent out a survey, we met with the suppliers, we set up vendor demonstrations. We actually went to Detroit, Michigan to host a summit with all the interested parties that may be able to participate in building and integrating automation on a transit bus. It was really fascinating. We gave them a segment and we let them review our draft technical specifications. They vetted it. We adopted their feedback and their comments, and we finalized the technical specifications. And that's led us to phase two. Phase two is where we are today. We've completed phase one. Phase two is now in the procurement phase. We have issued, if you guys haven't seen, a national RFP. That took place in January. And we're expecting some bids to come back in for these automated buses using that specification in March. Who are these agencies that makes up this consortium? So the agencies that makes up the consortium is shown on the screen. You know, I'm with Dallas Area Rapid Transit. We're one of the founding members of the consortium. There were originally 13 members of the consortium that was formed at the beginning. And there were several that dropped out because of the pandemic and they had financial constraints. But since that time, there were several that actually have joined the consortium. And you can see here, just by the names, there are agencies in Atlanta, there are agencies in New Jersey, there's agencies right here in Houston, along with our agency in Dallas. We have agencies within Michigan, even a university. We have Michigan State University that has served and will be serving as one of the host sites for the automated buses and these vehicles when they're deployed. There we go. Ken, start advancing. Can you guys just advance the slides on my behalf upon cue? Okay. Yep. So why did we join this consortium? There were several different reasons why we decided to participate. One, we knew that we wanted to be part of accelerating automated buses for transit services. That was a given to us. And then secondly, we are early adopters of electric vehicles. We have 7 of those right now. They were launched in service in 2018. They serve a arts district now. We have quite a bit of experience with them now. We're excited about that. We know that this is the next stepping stone within the technology. And we can all agree that automation is here to stay. It's in the airline industry, it's in trucking, it's in nautical operations, it's here to stay. We wanted to also participate in this consortium for shared lessons, right? These consortium members that's in here, they bring a different perspective. One of the concepts that we talked about was exchanging those buses over time. So for instance, if we collectively jointly procure, let's say 50 buses, and they're evenly split between, or proportionally split between these agencies. After several years of operating the buses in our environment in Dallas, we may want to inherit and transfer some of the vehicles that was customized for the northern environment, right? And allow us to operate those vehicles because there will be some level of customization within the specification, but for the most part, as a consortium, as a policy member, we decided that that specification will be unique and a baseline for all interested suppliers and vehicle manufacturers to build to. That's one of the feedbacks we heard from the industry, that they didn't want these customizations because they would never get an automated bus launched if it was so customized based on the specific recipe. And then lastly, we wanted to reduce traffic congestion. And then the transition into transit, it's long overdue. We don't have any automated vehicles in transit. We know automation is going to be part of our commonplace going forward. Now is the time for us to consider that as part of this consortium. So this is why the program was the best fit for us. In 2018, as I stated, we've launched the battery electric buses. We have 7 of those in our fleet. They operate out of our downtown service. We partnered with Uber for the first mile and last mile as another mobility innovation, right? In 2019, we also won an award. We won an award for striving to reduce carbon footprint and reduce emissions in our region. And we're proud of that because we won the gold award. And historically before that, we were still receiving bronze and silver, but we're on that path. We're on that path to zero emissions. In 2019, we were also recognized nationally for our GoPass app. The GoPass app is a trip planning application that we know that we can integrate for an automated bus. And it would be very conducive. It's a nice fit for us. And then lastly, this bus Zoom network, the image on the lower left corner, we just launched that last month in January. We redesigned our whole bus network to make sure that we increase our coverage and we increase our speed and frequency on how we operate our bus network. So with that, an automated bus we think would fit nicely within that profile and the services that we've employed. Okay, the technology approach. It begins with safety. Safety is first and foremost. Safety is everything when it comes to automated vehicles, right? And we would not be involved in, thank you. Would it be best if I just cue you with the next slide and then you can advance the slide? Can you do that? Okay, I'll just cue you with the next slide, please. So safety is first and foremost in launching an automated bus in any capacity. And we established a 21-point risk register as part of the consortium, the policy committee. And amongst the risk register, we wanted to make sure that we incorporate all critical safety requirements. One of the things I want to leave you with on this particular slide of the risk elements is that there is no federal testing requirements right now for an automated bus. So with that, we decided that we're going to allow the vehicle manufacturers to self-certify with those safety certifications, and we're really going to be using a very jaundiced eye on ensuring that their safety protocols have been met. And that's also is going to be the phased approach on moving that forward. We know that the bus operator and labor union agreements and acceptance and cybersecurity, those things are important. We can't neglect that. That's vital. The passenger acceptance and security, they got to feel safe. And the passengers will have to embrace this. We need to find out what their reaction is going to be when these vehicles are received and deployed. The technology companies and their ability to deliver. We've got supply chain issues that's taking place right now in this era. We've talked to some of the suppliers. They wanted to move the time frame out. That's why we're looking at 2025 or so prior to having the vehicle built and delivered and ready for testing and evaluation. Right. Next slide, please. So what type of automation are we talking about? We're talking about level 4. Level 4 is basically hands-free, but requires a driver and operator on board. Right? That's the safety measure, and that's the phased approach we wanted to take. We did not want to even refer to and use the title autonomous bus, because autonomous means no driver. So strategically, we wanted to rename the consortium to Automated Bus, and what they let that level 4 capacity still remain. Next slide, please. So this slide represents the automated bus operational domain, design domain. This is really something that allows us to build the specification for the vehicle, and it also allows us to test the vehicle after it's built and delivered to us, right? And so what we want the vehicle to operate in a certain environment, under certain parameters, right? We want to make sure that it operates on the urban roadway and traffic, global route and path planning, bus stops, signaling systems, recognized bike lanes and pedestrians. It has to if it's going to be an automated vehicle, right? That technology has to recognize that. And the sensors that's going to be included in these buses, we want them to recognize it and have that redundancy because safety is first and foremost. Next slide, please. So the pilot route, next slide please. The pilot route that we have chosen in Dallas is the airport shuttle. There's an airport shuttle route that operates between our Dart Light Rail station at Inwood, and it terminates within the Dallas Love Field Airport. We chose that route for a number of different reasons. Number one, it's a short route. It's only 4 miles, right, from terminal to terminal. And it's conducive to an automated bus. It has a very limited number of left turns or signal lights. The number of merge lanes is limited. And we own the property. We own the site in which that bus would originate out of, and we can install opportunity chargers at that site because we have that site. Our goal is to purchase 2 chargers to install them at that station to allow that automated bus to recharge under an opportunity charging mode. Next slide, please. This is just a snapshot, an aerial shot of the route itself. And the image in the upper right-hand corner shows the complex maneuvers that automated bus would have to operate under. What we did there, and how we captured that, the engineers as part of our consortium, they mounted a GoPro camera on one of the buses and shadowed that bus along the route. And they mapped it to identify where are the complex maneuvers, where would the operator need to take control on their level 4 bus to navigate the route safely. And that's what we're shown here. We're excited about it. This next slide just shows the left turn signal. It's a flashing left turn. That's a hazard. An automated bus may not be able to recognize that. So this is the infrastructure modification that we would need to make to have the left turn signal reprogrammed to have a protected solid green left turn signal. And they can recognize that. So these are the infrastructure modifications that we've learned, that we're going to integrate as part of our infrastructure along this route, and we're excited about that. Next slide, please. Under the assessment criteria, there's a number of them. One, we're planning to develop a lessons learned report after the deployment and the evaluation period once the vehicles are delivered to us. And by the way, those 4 vehicles would supplant those 4 CNG vehicles that's operating on that route right now. The project cost, we want to know the true cost of the project, even if it's our pilot project. The true cost of the infrastructure, the true cost of the buses, the true cost to maintain and operate the vehicles, and whatever the cost that's going to be captured based on the demonstration and the evaluation of the AVs. Ridership monitoring. These vehicles will be equipped with automatic passenger counters. So we want to find out the boarding and the public acceptance and the passenger acceptance. The carbon emission savings. I was having a conversation at lunchtime about data that can be captured, just using that. That's going to be really important to demonstrate the viability of this technology. The customer feedback, that's going to be very critical. Otherwise, why are we doing this? Who's going to ride it if they won't be safe on a vehicle or feel that it's going to benefit them in some way? So we're planning to set that up along with, lastly, the path to zero emissions. This falls within that path, right? So we're excited about that, and it's a good fit for us. The next slide, please. Regulatory requirements. Obviously, there are regulations. Texas actually has one of the few states that has regulations for automated vehicles, which is a good thing. And one of the things we realize is that at the key to it, they require insurance, for the owners of the AV, and they identify that the regulations preempt local requirements that may be put in place for a given city. Next slide, please. Coming to an end soon. Make it time, right? So what would DART Phase 2B look like? This is what does success look like, right? So for us, we feel success is going to look like public acceptance. We get these 4 vehicles, we operate it for 12 to 18 months, we begin to get the customer feedback, the public likes it, demo rides, we're not charging them a fare, we just want to get the feel for the evaluation of the technology and how it's working, what we need to do differently, right? And then get our marketing and communication department involved. Let them describe to us, what is this vehicle? What does it look like? Where's it going? How long are you gonna have it? And talk about it, explain this automated bus. And so they're excited about it. And then lastly, the social media feedback, that has to be key. That's gonna be vital in terms of us shaping and adjusting and making any modifications to this automated bus. On the operator role, and here's another critical one in addition to safety. The operator role has to be preserved, right? That's the anxiety that may take place with respect to labor unions. And one of the things that we were strategic about under the consortium, we don't want to remove the operator and try to design an autonomous vehicle, a driverless vehicle, a self-driving vehicle, right? The vehicle will still be self-driving, but it will have an operator on board. And the operator will be serving in the concierge mode, right? And the job description change, right? They're gonna be greeting customers, boarding the vehicle. They're gonna assist with the trip planning. They'll be retrained to do that. They will also be responsible for assisting mobility impaired passengers. That still has to happen on the automated bus, right? And on an unanticipated event, there may be altercations on some vehicles. Someone has to contact our dispatch or our support resources that we have within mass transit, and that operator will be on board to do things like that. So it's important that we preserve that, and then more importantly, they are there to take over the vehicle and take over more when those circumstances dictate. Next slide, please. Budget and schedule. A couple more slides and I'll close my presentation. The budget, we're estimating about $10.2 million for our budget for the 4 vehicles, infrastructure modification, project soft costs, the project itself, and what we may learn during the evaluation period. Project schedule, there are several milestones. Phase 1 has been completed. That's a feasibility study. We've done with that. Phase 2 is where we are now. The RFP has been issued. We're developing a testing protocol for the vehicle. We're also looking to develop the deployment strategy and define that. And the next milestone is going to be go, no go once the bids come back. We hope that the bid estimates for a vehicle, an automated vehicle, will fit within our estimate for the budget. But if it far exceeds that, that will allow some of the consortium members to opt out and make a go, no go decision depending on their own unique circumstances and their financial capacity. Another milestone would be if we go forward with the vehicles and award the contract to have them built and constructed, we have to test them. There's a testing protocol and a testing certification process that will take place as part of the other major milestone, and that's where the safety protocol will come into play. And then lastly is the deployment and the go live date. And so we're thinking about between 2024 and 2025. It's a time frame that might be reasonable, but once we get our proposals back in the next 120 days, we would know better whether or not that time frame is achievable. Next slide, please. Next steps, I just talked about it. The RFP was issued on January 24th. The bids are due on May 23rd, and we'll see what happens from there. Next slide. So, recent announcements. There were 2 recent announcements by interested vehicle manufacturers. One was New Flyer. They've announced very clearly that they're going to move forward with the level 4 automated bus. That announcement came out in late January. You'll see a video clip that's going to be shown momentarily. And then there are 2 others that are partnering together, Dastec and Kerosene, level 4 automated vehicles. They're actually testing a vehicle at the University of Michigan right now. So with that, I think we're ready to cue up the video and then close out, or we don't have time.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, that can put me technical.
Understood.
So, anyway.
Well, that concludes my presentation. Thank you all. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but I hope this was informative for you.